So what we're looking at is a Nighthaven that so far has been played twice in two completely different circumstances at this point, Lax. Are you surprised that we're seeing this brand new map that's never been played in comp before be so drastic in two completely different ways so far?
Yeah, actually, but I'm glad for that too. It shows that it's just not one-sided like some maps have been. It shows that you can have a very strong attacker team, you can also have a very strong defender team. And in both those instances, they've been very one-sided affairs, and I genuinely like seeing that. I don't like it just being this one direct way of like, okay, well, let's forget this, let's go to the next side. It could be whatever that team is strongest at.
Certainly, and I think with the new map coming through, you know, we've seen some teams have some really great ideas, obviously Dark Zero, M80. We've also had some teams struggling on it, and one of them we just saw, Space Station. The other one is Oxygen, and I think when you dial in on OXG, there's a few players that in that previous game maybe didn't have the match that they wanted. I want to talk about Newers, if I can, because he's a player who has historically been the guy on OXG. He's been popping off for frags, and if you look at his stats, they're still quite good. 1.33 KD ratio, 5-2 on entry. This is classic Newers. However, I think there have been moments, and I think you can particularly go back to the time that they played Nighthaven earlier last week, when he has kind of struggled to be in the right spot. There was one round where they were trying to attack on a storage, and Newers got a huge 3K, but he completely failed to cover the plants. He completely failed to get the correct kills in the post plants, and it felt like he was a little bit disconnected. So for some of these players, I think Newers included, the changes we have seen coming to the stage have been a bit of a road bump for them. They've caused some problems, and I'm hoping we see some of that iron things out. I don't know if Auction will go back to this map, back to Nighthaven, but regardless, I'm hoping we see some of these problems get ironed.
Well, and to talk about Newers specifically there, when you're saying, you know, he is getting these 3Ks, but he wasn't really contributing a whole lot to the end round, mid round, whatever that is. When you're kind of getting smoked like that, when the strats aren't working, the vision isn't there, you kind of just tunnel vision on kind of what's in front of you, and you just focus heavily on what's there. And it's not to take anything away from Newers or OXG. It's just when you do find yourself, and I'm speaking from an experience, when you're in those situations, it's just so hard to focus on the objective when it's not going over as planned.
It's not that we're taking anything away from OXG. To be totally fair to them, it's just that the team that they're playing right now are these guys. They're playing the Big Red. They got Wildcard coming up next, and they have yet to lose a freaking map. They've only so far played 4 games, 3 of which have been on border. It's, again, genuinely highway robbery that they're able to get away with being undefeated and only showing 2 maps at this point. But it's not that OXG have anything going negatively against them, it's that everything for Wildcard's going right.
Yeah, and so far, you said it, Jacob, their last 3 games all on border. There's a very real chance today we get a 4th border in a row from Wildcard, because their opponents, OXG, love the map as well. Auction Esports, through all off-season competitions and throughout this year's NAL and SI, 10-game win streak coming through on Wildcard's best map of border. If we get to the map ban phase, once we eventually get there, I'm very interested to see if Oxygen will ban it out because Wildcard looks so scary, or if they're going to run it back.
Listen, as much as I would love to see a border, I want to see a different map from Wildcard that isn't Bank and that isn't especially border. I want to see a bigger map pool from these guys and see if they really have what it takes in terms of testing out their map pool and seeing how strong they are as a team. Because clearly we see how strong they are, but those maps could heavily depend on that, how strong they are.
Well, I am the map fairy for right now. So if we get border, it's going to show up in 3, 2, 1.
The time off the map fairy.
I don't know. Is it Nighthaven? Is it Consulate? Is it Bank? Is it Chalet?
3, 2, 1.
What do we got?
I'm the map fairy.
Where are we going? Oh, border got banned out in the middle of the ban phase, Jesse.
Yeah, actually a huge curveball at the end here. Looking at Wildcard, obviously we've not seen them a lot, so on one hand, we don't really know their map pool, but Clubhouse is a 75% ban rate from Wildcard. Skyscraper is a 0% ban map from Wildcard. This is the first time they have ever banned this map. So them going Club instead is likely to surprise OXG as the final ban to come through. And as you mentioned, Jacob, yeah, border, maybe a little bit afraid from Oxygen. They did go ahead and ban that halfway through the pool.
Laxton, what are your thoughts on this, just at first glance?
Thank God we don't have border. I've seen it too much, but I am a little surprised at Clubhouse. I think that's a little scary for me seeing Wildcard pick that. Auction is a very strong team at Clubhouse. They've shown it through regular leagues. They've shown it internationally. So this is going to be a hard one for Wildcard, in my opinion.
Yeah, stage 1 for Oxygen on Clubhouse. They played it 3 times. It was always against the Sonics. They went 1-2. They lost it twice, won it once against SQ. But in the offseason, they beat both SSG Academy, the former kind of Luminosity roster, and then also Mirage in the Game Rogue playoffs. So not the highest level of competition, but still solid wins under your belt.
For sure. And again, Wildcard must be doing a lot of prep. Their coaches must be doing a lot of prep going into Oxygen because they have a lot of Vods on Oxygen in terms of what they do on Clubhouse, see if they change anything from game to game. So in that aspect, maybe Wildcard does have a little something up their sleeve and they might have changed some strats. But on that back note, Oxygen is still a strong team on Clubhouse.
I mean, the ultimate question is just whether Oxygen is the team to finally end Wildcard's undefeated streak right here, right now, or if somehow we see the New Bloods go 5-0 in their debut stage in the North American League. It'll be Lynx and Stokes, the call from Map 2.
I mean, that'd be absurd, right? Like, Wildcard starting off 5-0, not just like 3 regulation wins, 2 OT wins, but 5 regulation wins through the season. That would be insane, and yet that is what is on the line in this game. As to be fair, they are fighting our currently number 2 team in the NAL, being Oxygen.
It's so crazy, Lynx, because Wildcard is a entirely new team, right? Like, everybody obviously on this team has history with Rainbow Six Siege, but as a squad in whole, right? They haven't played through a lot of big tourneys or anything together. But they have quickly skipped over like every single stepping stone and just got right to the point where they're fantastic from what we've seen so far. But the key thing about this is it is a smaller sample size, right? We don't have a lot of maps under our belt just yet with Wildcard, and that's the key thing we're going to focus on here today. We have Clubhouse, a very default, very neutral playing ground for Rainbow Six Siege across the board. It's usually one of the first 2 maps that you learn when it comes to Siege, right? You either learn Oregon or you learn Clubhouse, and it really hasn't changed up in the last 8 years. So we'll see what Wildcard can produce. They've been absolutely perfect so far in my eyes, especially for a brand new, fresh out of the box squad. So I'm excited to see if Oxygen can be the team to push a few buttons.
Well, ban phase now almost done. Azami, our first defensive ban. OXG will deny us some Fenrir on Clubhouse. The attacking bans, that's what I'm more interested in, as typically, and not breaking with the trend in this game, one of those kind of 4 operators, Azami, Solus, Valkyrie, Fenrir are banned. In this case, it's the Azami Fenrir. The Hibana and the Buck ban are a little more interesting. Hibana's pretty common, especially just because of the amount of hatches you can open up on or when you're attacking the basement bomb site. But no Buck Sam. It's been a while since we've seen a good Buck ban, at least consistently inside of the scene. But given the changes they've made to him, such as the shotgun, or changes to the shotguns overall, for example, how good his kit is, that's a pretty powerful source of soft destruction. Now denied to the attack, but they'll have to instead compensate with breach charges or running sledge every round.
Yeah, and, you know, he's really easy to work in on a map like this too. You have the secondary hard breach, you have the Gone 6 secondary as well, and you have that skeleton key like you're referencing, which is fantastic for sites like CCTV or, you know, even some aspects of gym and bedroom. So probably a good thing to just get off the board. You don't want to really deal with a lot of the different angles that could be thrown at you from the offense. So I really like this ban coming out of Wildcard. Obviously, they'll have to deal with it initially as they'll be starting on the offensive side, but it's definitely something that they've game planned for in the past. So we'll see what they can do with it now, as we will be fresh out the gates here in between these two. Oxygen will be starting this off downstairs.
Classic Church Arsenal beginning. Of course, no Thatcher ban from either of these teams, so Merc will bring him pretty much immediately. Make sure they can open up as many of these hatches and as many of these walls as they can. The Thermite Ace combo will be a must pick for the attack likely throughout the duration of this game. Maybe a Maverick to do a different method of piercing through hard bridge denial, but this combination of operators, specifically the Ace, will likely be a presence throughout the entirety of this attacking half between both teams. Ying also on the board, now brought by Spirits to start things out. And it's a full clear of the entire map to begin things as well. Surf just spots someone, or seconds too late for spotting someone, tucking tail and running down secret stairs, as pretty much everyone from Oxygen has already backed down to the bomb site in the first minute.
The usual here in Clubhouse.
Standard fare.
Just Yeah, more than likely just going to be you and I going back and forth here for the next minute as they clear things out, try and get this hatch control dealt with. Oxygen might want to try and focus on some of these angles they can try and reclaim, but in the common day of Siege, not really something that you want to see inside of competitive. I for a very long time, have not seen anyone try and work their way up the main stairs in a situation like this and win an outlays. I don't know about you, but it's been a little while. We're gonna do the electric shuffle here on the hatch, and Dream's not gonna be able to win that one out as he only has one electro claw. Can't exactly dance the best with one leg, but Dream will try.
Attackers have located
EMP will be out here, and Packer will be able to get rid of the other hatch here for blue. So Oxygen slowly losing some of this hatch play, but not exactly something that they were looking to have exist for the tail end of this round.
It is all EMPs expended by the attack, though. So if they is any further hard breach denial of any kind, might face some problems. There is none on the kitchen hatch, of course, but we'll see how the church wall is faring later on in the round. Both exothermics used at this point. Spirit still has one hard breach charge left in pocket to open up that kitchen hatch if they want. Wildcard doing some more work to make sure that he's not vulnerable to any impacts or C4s from below. Adam also playing a big part on cutting off this main stairs angle. Oh, just spots one rotating around dummies. There is another defender also looking towards the end of that hallway from inside of AKs. 30 seconds now to go. The Incandela's flying on in. Surf will just send it, but with such low HP, running through that toxic smoke has put him down on the floor. Packer, the first official kill. Surf somehow still alive. This is an effective 1v3 now, as despite all that chaos, Surf is only the second to last player to fall on Wildcard. But with how low HP Adam is, and his position likely read pretty well by OXG, this should be the first defense win for Oxygen, and there you go.
We touched on it a lot in the first game, but once again, showing just how strong the patience of a lot of these competitive squads are. Oxygen, very dynamic in the way that they were able to hold on to that plane into their own favor. Really liked how they were able to hold the supporting crosses, especially with the position that we saw from Dirt, just making sure that they had every single annex that could be exploited from Wildcard completely covered. And there really wasn't a chance for Wildcard to get the entry that they were seeking so badly, especially because they kind of had to just go for the kitchen hatch, right? They really just had that as well as the play coming down main stairs to look forward to, and none of it really bagged them all that much. Past that, the positioning from Oxygen, extremely strong. They're able to reclaim a lot of the, harder to fight for areas, especially with things like blue going their way. It's always going to be difficult to try and get something like a church plant to go off.
But now we get to the bomb sites where hopefully Wildcard,
10 seconds to go.
we're hoping for a close game today, which after that very quick affair in game one, I'm certainly hoping for.
5 seconds left.
Well,
We just have not had the best luck so far this stage, have we?
No, not really, especially on Nighthaven. I mean, 7-2 is already quick, then we got a 7-1. That was like, what? That was like 2 minutes. Very, very quick affair for you and I so far in a lot of these games, but Wildcard should be able to pick up a couple rounds here on CCTV and or Jim if they have their coordination down. You saw them able to open up those hatches pretty quickly last time, and translating those skills to the plat wall should be a fairly easy jump. And already Packer is looking to open that up before we even reach the 30-second mark.
Breach time. We're just waiting on EMPs here from Merc. Mute jammer up against the wall too there from Dream. Double SAS on the top floor, and why not? Put the shotguns as well as that nitro cell there from Dream. Get a drone in, see that there's really nothing holding on to the wall, so this should be a freebie here for Packer. Able to extinguish this one for now. Concussion through, and Surf will recognize that nobody's at the top of red, at least close to the door. Wildcard's going to want to try and expose more than just one access point, though, here, Lynx. They're going to try and rotate across. They'll be able to get construction hatch as well, and then quickly dispatch the wall on Jacuzzi side here, too. So this is going to start to constrict Oxygen in the area that they'll be allowed to play. But as we saw last time, that's not exactly a measure that Oxygen isn't prepared for. Oh,
Fish trying to prepare a run out, but it's unfortunately a bit half-baked, unfortunately, on the secret stairs. Does more damage to himself than he does to the enemy team. He's used all his impacts now, and even worse, the attack is now aware of that run out. Merc just walks on in, does find one player sitting on the rafters. Yaga trying to pick up another one. Not equalized for OXG just yet. Still Wildcard holding the advantage, and given how low health Fish is and how far away he was from the bomb site, there's only one player actually directly on this second floor, but boy, is he doing the most to stop Wildcard's entry in its tracks. Merc still holds firm control of the red stairs and has stopped Fish's rotation back to the site. Just Yaga and Fox trapped inside of Lounge and Garage respectively. This Garage player, the main line of defense, and now removed, dispatched by a lethal Merc in round 2. Foxay's got a good position. 45 seconds left down below to deny the plant, but he's got to have intel. He's got to know, and it's simply not there. One impact, 2 impacts go out. One does a little damage to Merc, but none deny the plant. He'll now walk through Barbed, giving a sound cue to the attack to know where he is making his final push into the bomb site. The attack as well pulled back in the Garage on the plat wall. Deny Foxay any opportunity for a 1v1, though Merc might just look to give it to him, and indeed he does. Brings the pain to Fox, a 4K in round 2.
Only took 2 rounds for Wildcard to be able to strike back. We'll tie things up here 1-1. And what a showing from Merc as he's able to take down 4 separate targets. And if there's one thing that has surprised me just over the years of casting Merc and watching him from way back in the day before he was even a professional player, this man's ability to just kill people in Rainbow Six Siege is unprecedented, Lynx. If Merc wants you to die, it's probably going to happen. And the craziest thing is he practically just walks at people. Like, Yaga is just on this garage angle, slap. Like, it's gonna happen here in a split second, but you get what I mean. It's such an impressive capability of his that only really he is able to recreate a lot of these different scenarios. We've seen it from other people, obviously, in the past, but Merc is definitely one that comes to mind when you think of that fragging capability.
Certainly hasn't lost it. 5-1 so far.
10 seconds left
Rest of
before
Wildcard adding up to...
Not even the most amazing gun. He's just
5
wrecking
seconds to
people
go.
with an L85.
Yeah, rest of the team adding up to 2 kills, and as you said, slow operator, L85, probably one of the, I mean, I'd argue probably one of the most just kind of like middle of the pack guns. Not great, not terrible, definitely. Just like a solid, reliable gun, but no G36, no R4C. But still putting in the work, just walking into the plat wall breach, which is likely where Wildcard will start this round, similar to CCTV. And of course, not just walking on in, then planting like they did before, as besides Gym Bedroom, they'll have to do a little more work, but they will start at least opening up an angle to stop anybody from rotating around CCTV.
A bomb has been
No
located.
frost traps to worry about, though. You have to worry about some Legion mines. Everything past that is just going to be guns and a little burn coming out of Yogg. That does mean, though, that Oxygen are probably going to be a little bit more active in their gunplay. See if they can try and get a lead-off pick. The Wildcard have been very good about not giving up bodies early on. They're not overly aggressive. They're not too active. And honestly, it's just a showcasing of how much veteranism this squad has. Even for some of these younger players, they're constantly able to work these things out. Dream, speaking of working things out, everything goes wrong for him trying to grab the Electro Claw before the wall pops off. It'll force him back deeper into Master Bedroom.
Now all that's left, at least on this part of the map, is the hold inside of Cache and construction itself. They've not been able to stop the plat wall breach, but that's something you're going to allow to be opened up, and then you'll try to hold inside of Cache. But denying the Jacuzzi breach, that one's not going to sting too painfully, but definitely will hurt a little bit, as that is maybe 20 seconds or so you could have wasted had that worked out. Fox's wall now in Cache, being opened up by those Selma charges. He'll rotate back and take some damage in the process. Does see the Thermite entering. Oh, Packer just a little too far away on that spray. Might have been the end of Fox, and he'll be regretting it even further. The nade from below just a second too late, as the Warden has caused chaos for Wildcard's attack.
But Merc, he's been activated. 1 minute remains, and they've been able to equalize as the 3 versus 3. Got some stuff going for them on site when it comes to the info, but Newers, we haven't seen his face just yet, but we're talking about fragging capabilities earlier. This is another one of those names in North America that you have to be worried about. If he starts to catch light, it could be him versus Merc and everybody else just in the background. And honestly, something that I would personally love to see, Lynx. Always love seeing those high frag games out of these high frag players. And 35 seconds remaining, something's got to give. Especially with Merc down on the ground now. Could be a big round here for Newers to try and equalize this kill advantage.
And they've got the angles to shut down this duo clear as well. Still had Logi, but that's backed off. Instead, everyone just trying to take these long fights. There we go, Newers. That's what we were looking for. Low HP, not a problem. Sees both are pushing on in through the Condor, and both their heads line up.
Beautiful cross handled there from all angles. They even had the red wall from construction, catching a few rounds from the defense, just trying to make sure that they're peppering them as much as possible. Newers to nip it in the bud with the MPX. Oxygen, all's fair in love and war. So far, they're winning that war. The patience is really the thing that's been standing out to me for Oxygen here on Clubhouse. They've been able to at least fend off Wildcard in a few circumstances, but for the most part, one thing is rung true, Lynx, and it's the fact that they've been able to turtle very successfully so far here on this map and making sure Wildcard have to try and clear them. They have to take these gunfights, and this has been able to really show off what Oxygen are capable of when it comes to trying to fend off these more aggressive fronts.
Attackers have dropped the bomb diffuser.
Aside from CCTV, pretty good job of showing that on both bomb sites, being gym bedroom and basement. Now go
10
back
seconds
to the
remaining.
former with even more hard breach denial in play. Cade and the
5
Bandit
seconds
now,
left.
two different methods of hard breach denial. Even a Capcan in play too, putting down some EDDs
Attackers
on these
must
bar
locate and
doorways.
defuse the bomb.
Capcan's always that weird kind of conundrum. In high-level play, you'd think such a simple operator, you'd see those traps shot, but sometimes, just given how infrequently he's played at times, teams will just forget. And in a strategy like this, that might be the case, because Spirits is on the Blitz, and usually, Spirits likes his Blitz, but usually when Spirits plays the Blitz, it's not for some kind of slow play, Sam.
No, not at all. And especially when it comes to Spirits, I think that's exactly how we can kind of sum up this one. He definitely has a spirit when it comes to Blitz, doesn't he? He's one of those guys that'll get immediately in your face. He's looking for the frags. He's looking to open up any bit of map space he can for the offensive unit. Somebody else that comes to mind, right? Hot and cold when it comes to the Blitz play in these circumstances. He's going to rush his way all the way down dirt. Fish will rip the head off of Adam, and I hate to say it, Lynx, but Spirits, he really can't peek all that much with Blitz anymore. One shoulder shot to him, and just like that,
Down he
it's
goes.
over.
Well, that was a good rush in theory, and I think we'll all... hold up. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Something ain't right here. I was about to call the round, and Diffuser is dropped inside of dirt, but now Surf is down as well. Merc will rotate into dirt alongside a lot of his teammates where the Diffuser is, but where Spirits is still alone, cold and afraid, but alive. Try to pick this Blitz back up, mount some semblance of a comeback, but it will not happen in dirt. It's too narrow of a position. They'll need to back out. Spirits might take some time to drone it, but they'll need to add another angle. As pushing through one doorway in a 2v3 with your Blitz on low HP, that's not a recipe for success.
No, not at all. But the good news is that they've been able to at least get Spirits back up and see if he'll be able to get anything going for himself outside of dirt. Do have Merc on one of his more favorable operators and been able to show that gusto here in round 4. You have the potentiality of some conflict on main stairs. It's going to be the Capcan and a kill coming from him.
Attackers recover the diffuser.
Beautiful discovery there from Newers. They know where Spirits is as he's clanging around still inside of dirt. The Iron Giant will try and find an angle, and he'll be able to at least take down Yaga. It'd definitely be one of the crazier clutches I've seen in my life if he's able to get it. 40 seconds remain, and he does have case control. Knows where at least one is. One's over positioned inside of Church. He's going to go for this now, see if he can potentially play some audio, run back through, flash, but it's not going to catch Fox. He plays the chair masterfully. So that won't be able to blind him. They're trying to go for the fake again. Nitro Cell out. You can see it's just flirting with disaster back and forth here. Newer's going to hop in the back end, and it's actually going to be Foxe to take him down instead. Oxygen, so far so good on this defensive end.
Only round they've dropped up until this point was on CCTV, and that was built in large part off the back of a huge walk-in by Merc that ended up getting 4 kills by the end of the round. But if maybe OXG are able to play a little bit more focused on that breach, especially maybe bring Fish back into the fold, as he was positionally kind of close to the breach, but he was very focused on playing on secret stairs, trying to get a run out onto the breach itself. Maybe you have him playing a bit further into lounge, maybe watching some vertical holes or denying some control for the attack. That could stop that walk-in. But even then, it was off of a big individual play that Wildcard got their only round victory so far. And since then, OXG have looked fairly comfortable on these defenses, and a shift of fortune in their favor on CCTV will likely give them a flawless rotation.
Most definitely. And it's all built up to really this moment here. Oxygen have a chance to actually relatively quickly take this side, make things complicated for Wildcard. Also, giving Oxygen a chance to make it
10
a
seconds left.
5-1 defensive half. That would definitely make things kind of
5 seconds
complicated
left
for
before
Wildcard when it comes to switching things up. Obviously, everything's good in
Attackers are
practice. They
moving
probably
out to locate a
scrimmed
bomb and
Clubhouse
defuse it.
quite a bit, as it's one of the favorable maps, not only for NA, but for Rainbow Six Siege. Just a favorite map over the years in general. But when it comes to game day, things can definitely be a little bit different when it comes down to it. So we're looking to see if Wildcard can come into the clutch when that half switch does happen. But as of now, have a few different issues presented from Oxygen that they're going to have to try and find a solution with. The first one being Fish all the way downstairs is Soulless to start his journey off inside dirt.
Still looking for a run out of some kind. It's not the forefront of the action, at least at the moment. Wildcard focused on opening up this plat wall. This is how OXG have decided to try to waste time. Bring out that bandit trick with the Thatcher in hand on the attacking side. Put those bandit batteries on the plat wall. Now, a necessary response by Wildcard is likely to rotate down below. But again, OXG have thought of this. They have Fish playing that secret stairs position again. As the EMPs go out. Oh, the concussions from the Zofia miss. Oh, but Foxay places the bandit on the wrong side. These often come down to a 50-50, and unfortunately, Foxay a little unlucky in this case. Good try, especially dodging that utility. The Wildcard have opened the wall. Still, though, to be commended, OXG have wasted far more time, almost 45 more seconds it took for Wildcard to open this plat wall compared to round 2.
And that's the power of the bandit trick. Not something you only see inside of your pubs. Something that is also competitively viable and has been for years, especially in this position. Nice find there from Fox. Pack row go down. That's a hard breach. Tried to make sure that he wasn't going to smack his teammate with that. And speaking of getting smacked, Fish is going to swing right into Merc. And Merc has already repositioned himself. Foxy will take down Packer. That was the player down outside. With a minute remaining, Wildcard and Oxygen both, oh my, at odds. Oxygen going to falter here now. Looked like they were going to make a more grandiose stand, but Wildcard dispatching them left and right. Newer trying to get a kill back for himself outside of the CCTV window, but nothing giving from the offense.
I would not want to be the man peeking Merc on this bomb site. Seems everyone else is easy pickings for Oxygen, but if your name is Merc, you might be able to get every kill in this round. Surf, though, he does finally get on the board in round 5. Let's put Newers down to the last one left in Garage. There's only one player on the bomb site right now. The other Merc is rotating around into cash with the diffuser. Newers just spots the Zofia for a slight second, but on the rotation, on the reaggress, loses the gunfight. Wildcard pick up CC a second time.
Cool, calm, and collected in calamity for Wildcard. A lot of C's there, Lynx. But as they say, C's get degrees. Not giving them a C on this one, though. It's going to be an A+. You can give me an S, honestly, if we were going to be using like Dance Dance Revolution grades, right? Because amazing so far from Wildcard. They've been able to stand toe-to-toe with Oxygen. And in a lot of these scenarios, they've been able to at least get their shots in, right? Oxygen have done a fantastic job of holding on to map control, controlling the clock, and trying to make these rounds as difficult as humanly possible for the offensive side. It's really just been the fact that Wildcard have been able to maintain synergy and have been able to exploit a lot of their fragging power up against Oxygen. Past that, though, I think that their game plan, especially when it comes to their utility usage, is amazing. I think it's crazy to me just because I feel as though like we're not even talking about it because like they look as though they're such a veteran squad, but they're brand new, Lynx. This squad should not be looking so solid right now, but yet they are.
They do look extremely good and do play very well together, but I do want to temper things just a little bit because this game
Please do. I'm a hype man.
Listen, it's built a little bit off the back of a crazy 9-3 performance from Merc so far. I mean, he is the reason that first CCTV attack was opened up, and arguably the reason, just to maybe a less explosive extent, that second attack on CCTV was opened up as well, as Foxy was able to down someone outside, but before he could finish the kill, Merc was able to start things off and then get another kill later on in the round. So I think everything you said is true, but specifically in this game, Wildcard definitely are relying a little bit on a strong performance from Merc so far, but in this position, if Spirits down below with those nades is able to land his timing a little bit better, Foxay, who was in this position before and got 2 kills, might not be a factor, but he's not even doing that. With his ARX, he's already got the first pick.
Very true. And, devil's advocate for devil's advocate here. When Merc has roughly 33% of the team's kills, and the 33% of the kills available in the amount of rounds that they have played, kind of difficult for the other ones to get kills, don't you think? I mean, he's just covering so many resources. There's maybe not really an opportunity for them, but I will say this, just to feed into your point a bit, they're having a lot of clutch moments for him where he's been able to win things out in a lesser man advantage for Wildcard and kind of pull it back across the line. So you can definitely see what you're getting at with that point. But we'll see if Wildcard, especially with that leadoff pick here, coming from the likes of Spirits, could have a change of fate, could be spreading things more across the board when it comes to the frag department.
Foxy is definitely in a bit more of a tricky position because he doesn't have the same freedom just to swing and be a little reckless with his life. Now with Fish down and his support and construction gone, flashed completely. 5v2 now for Wildcard as this cash clear is infinitely more effective than it was on their previous bout. Foxy might not be the first to fall, but he's certainly the last bit of resistance on that extension. Now it's his Dream and Newers to hold down the bomb site. I love this reset from Wildcard. Everyone just hitting the pause button, holding some angles, taking some time to drone, but not walking in without the proper resources and the proper time. Now that they've acquired that information, we now see some utility usage, some flashes going on in, but nobody looking towards logistics. Both defensive players watching their respective angles have come away with a kill. That's now made it a 2v2, make that a 2v1. As Spirits now case on the floor, Surf has got a vault in from Metal to pick up the pieces. He's made his way into Jim, but he's exposed from both different positions and doesn't have the diffuser. He'll move to rotating Con, but he's spotted on a Vault Cam, and that's easy for Newers to clean up. A 2v4 in round 6 keeps OXG's lead alive.
Throw on the bat signal, Lynx. The Dark Knight rises. As soon as they need him, man, he was there. Newers shutting down 4 separate players. And not only that, but just Oxygen standing the test of time in a scenario where you don't really think that there's a capability to, right? I love especially how you built that up because Wildcard hit that pause button. They tried to reassess what was going on with the site, and they felt as though they were going to make the next move. They thought the pawn push was a good idea there, Lynx, but they didn't see the bishops. They didn't see the bishops at the back of the board, and they quickly decimate the entirety of Wildcard, and that's why you got to worry about some of those longer angles. A little chess knowledge for you, baby.
Just a little bit. I've been listening to a lot of chess commentary, so it's been on my mind a lot frequently. So this is just, I'm going to prep all of you listening. This will probably be a theme at least once or twice a day from us going forward. But we'll see if anything else comes to play here, as OXG certainly have 4-2 lead moving into the side swap. Wildcard for their defenses will move down to Church Arsenal, but OXG in a prime spot to extend their lead to a scary 5-2 scoreline. Of course, to do that, they will need to start opening up these hatches and clear out this roam to begin with. They've decided to bring a Maverick instead of a Thermite, which is what we saw Wildcard do on their attacks. And all of the hard breaching, actually, from OXG is on those 2 primary hard breachers, Ace and Maverick. No secondary charges like we saw from Wildcard.
I'm going to put the Yog Dog on Ash. So a little lethality there, too, on top of Newers. And these two, especially inside of the stage so far, have looked fantastic. Really been enjoying the play that we've been getting out of them. Newers with some big games, Yaga with some big moments, as well as quite a few frags in last week. Just across the board, doing quite well. Actually, plus 19 before this game. As of right now, he's 37 and 18 before we even launched Clubhouse. So pretty disgusting, if I do say so myself. And yeah, speaking of disgusting, Newers going to get taken down. That won't help his KD ratio all that much. But man, his Spirit's going to be happy about that one.
Spray through the lounge wall into garage. Take down the only set of nades for OXG. 8 and 4 as well. Too. Pretty much single-handedly won that last round alongside Dream. I mean, huge pickup for Spirits right there. And OXG taking a lot of time to get into position to start opening up these floorboards, opening up these hatches. I mean, even in terms of soft destruction, I actually didn't mention this. It's all focused on these breaching charges. No sledge brought. It's all secondary for OXG to try and open up these angles. And given that pick, and given how, sure, it's a minute 30, but to do all of this with still pre-play C4s, OXG are starting to get into dangerous waters.
They are indeed. Now you can see where the game plan from Wildcard came out. They had a complete strategy that was very sound for clearing this map, and especially clearing this basement links without Buck. And now, with the lack of Buck rather, from Oxygen, they don't really have the operators to try and clear this out very quickly. The reason the breaching charges are so rough is because you have to place them on the ground. It's a very big risk to impacts, nitro cells, and anything explosive from underneath. Wildcard could get some big kills, and in fact they already have, but it's been through lead and less explosive.
Just a slow death for OXG in round 7 at this point. Wildcard able to take a 1v1, win it. Only 2 1v1s so far. Wildcard winning both of them. Some key utility left alive, to be fair. They still have those Selmas. They still have that breaching charge now completely used up. Even some breaching charges, but time is just, it's not there. Not enough time to get anything you want further. Not even enough time to use those angles in a 3v5.
Nice.
You need to start winning some gunfights of yourself. But Merc has worked his way into a corner. Foxay might know. Oh, indeed he does. He'll check, but still loses the fight. Dream is able to get a big kill pushing in through dirt, but the rest of his team could not step up to the plate. Put to 1 HP now. Somehow, actually, Packer doesn't win that fight, but this is still an easy cleanup for anybody on OXG. And look at that. Or sorry, on Wildcard. They don't even take the fight until the bitter end. 4-3 now.
Just truly disgusting from Wildcard. And again, just to sing his praises a little bit extra on that one. There's only a handful of players in the world that can win out a gunfight in that position, especially up against Foxay. Just swings for the fences from the corner of Church. Decimates Fox and really opens up that round for Wildcard. Oxygen had to try and get the ball rolling. They needed those entry kills and a place to plant. They needed a home for that case. And nothing to be found. Oxygen will remain homeless, at least for right now. Wildcard will at least be able to pick up their very first defensive round and a good start to this defensive half overall.
If you're always able to start off your defensive half by getting that win on Church, everyone likes to go to first. Always makes it feel a little bit more comfortable when you go to a site like CCTV to follow up, like OXG did, and even though they lost it, they still had that kind of 1-round buffer, and then they really needed to buckle down on Jim to make sure they were at least creating a net profit throughout the remainder of their defensive half. Still very solid performance from Wildcard, especially individually, able to win those gunfights so consistently against OXG and just take down some key in-the-round players, being Yaga and Newers, who are able to open up rounds, get those kills. Big pickups for Wildcard, that if they can carry forward that success on the roam 2 later rounds and shut down those entries without taking a lot of damage or being traded as a result, that'll be huge for them to not only tie this half, but also get a lead later on.
Yep, we got a Yog on the sledge this time around. Something that we kind of touched on in that last round that could have been a little bit of an assist when it came to some of that soft breach, but honestly, I'd say not something that necessarily played into fundamentally why that round went wrong, rather. So, as for Oxygen, they'll be leading themselves back into round 8 now here. This will be on Dream, and everyone's ascended towards the sky to try and clean up a few of these odd angles. Merc's going to get tagged up just a tad bit, but I mean, might as well count his lucky stars. He's only going to get tagged up by a singular round there.
Heavy Jacuzzi wall focused by Oxygen. Merc, of course, as you mentioned, losing a lot of HP, but Surf inside a bathroom. Even if he doesn't lose a lot of health, his positioning, just such brutality from Oxygen to clear out that position. Selma charges on the wall, 2 nades flying in, players watching the rotate. He wasn't making it out of there unless he could start teleporting into a different part of the map. Great clear from OXG to take down that position early and also deny any further usage of it by the defense later on. You can't just rotate in there now and play it similarly. That wall is opened up. Wildcard just have to cede bathroom to the attack.
And how well rehearsed was that? I mean, disgusting the way that they were able to disintegrate not only the Jacuzzi wall, but able to get a frag grenade and another Selma in on the Mira. Not only take out Surf, but also open up all of the angles for themselves. And now Wildcard in hot water for the first time on the defensive side. We saw Wildcard do this to Oxygen a handful of times when the shoe was on the other foot. We'll see what they can do as they have to taste a little bit of their own medicine. Packer will get forced back into logistics. Does have to worry about a little bit of the hatch play. It's going to be Spirits down low, though. That'll end up tagging Dream. Yog's going to go down to Packer, actually. Nice little find there. Newers has been able to swing in here on Jacuzzi as well, but Merc, at least with one, he'll try again. But Adam, with the very next kill, Wildcard at least able to stay competitive. In fact, they'll be able to get it down. No! Fish! He'll win it out with a literal sliver of HP. He had a drone in his hand, but he's also got the kill in the other. Fantastic from Oxygen. And they'll close out the round of what seemed to be a wild card one, especially with how those frags were going near the tail end.
That's the advantage of the opening pick, just epitomized right there in front of our eyes. I mean, you have Surf taken on early on. That's Bathroom, right? Nobody can contest the immediate Jacuzzi walk-in from any position other than Logistics and Gym, where Merc and Packer were playing respectively. And Packer able to get a kill, but then shut down. Merc able to get a kill, but then shut down. OXG were losing bodies on that entry into the bomb site, but because they were able to kill Surf so early, despite it being very bloody and very difficult for them to get that control, they still kept that advantage, all because they got Surf so early on, and they prioritized those positions properly in taking down Logistics and Gym. It was a very, very tough clear from OXG, only in that it took a lot out of them, but because they so expertly cleared out Bathroom, they had enough of a gap to mitigate any further consequences or any further action from Wildcard.
And the intelligence to keep the kill box going on the outside as well, right? You had the players out towards balcony, you had the players out towards Jacuzzi. No one getting overly aggressive to try and get these refrags. They know that Wildcard have to try and reassess and reset once that engagement goes off. And that's exactly what wins them the round, Lynx. They kill everybody as they try to get back to home base.
Now Wildcard too, trying Gym Bedroom a second go around now. Surf will definitely need to be a lot more careful in that Bathroom position, because with how quickly he was dealt with, that's only going to be better for OXG now that they practiced this attack in the previous rounds. I will say though, one thing that Wildcard did constantly have on that half was a lack of CCTV pressure by the attack that allowed players like Adam and Spirits to shoot the metal balcony, or in the case of Spirits, rotate down below and try to go for runouts. If OXG do keep giving that part of the map to the defense, that's something we'll need to be worried about later on, but it seems they're still more focused on the players inside of the site, and Merc, the unfortunate victim of a well-placed G36 shot by Newers.
Well, so far, the point that you made earlier has stood. Merc has been really the only one that's been firing off when it comes to the frag category. He's down for this round after Newers will break double digits. He'll be quickly out of Merc there as the only two in the lobby. So we'll see what Wildcard can do now, and it's going to be a fine from Packer to equalize it for the splittest of seconds. Won't even be a second. Foxay will take down Surf too.
The trades from OXG have been so strong, just so unbelievably powerful in these Gym rounds. Able to get that first pick, and then every time Wildcard fight back successfully at that, they're shut down the moment later. Either that player who gets the kill directly or one of their teammates. And in this case, no trade even possible for Wildcard at that moment. Fish just not even counterable. He's took down Spirits. Packer has to hold down the Logistics, or the main stairs, and the Jacuzzi breach by himself at this point. Adam focusing on the other side of the map, the construction side. But both players still individual 1v1s that OXG can take and deal with. One spotted, that's Packer, now rotating away from Logi back into Bathroom. As opposed to last round, that mural window in Bathroom is still intact, but OXG aren't letting it slide away completely uncontested. One nade from below, but it's not successful in killing Packer. He remains alive and can throw a C4 onto that main stairs. Not a lot of action just yet. OXG just setting up, but they'll need to move in the next 30 seconds.
And it's been death by 1,000 cuts here for Wildcard. Just what we referenced the last time. Oxygen have set up this kill box, and they have constantly addressed it over and over and over again, and have exhausted the resources of Wildcard down to the very bare minimum. They're practically down to their last drops of water here, Lynx. There's really nothing that they can do. They have to try and fend off this immediate execute. And the beauty of that in general is that leading up to those moments, we actually had a 3 versus 4, right? But with Wildcard trying to find those adjustments again, trying to make a play, the patience and the cadence from Oxygen is on full display yet again. And they're able to win the round because of these picks, these very well-placed positions, holding crosses, making it more complicated for Wildcard to try and regroup themselves. And here's that clip once again. We see the Valkyrie trying to work her way in towards Wade's, trying to find a position to hold on towards the breach, but just gives up that tiny angle for Fish to be able to kill her as she works her way in. And that's really been the tale of the tape so far for Oxygen, is their ability to outplay Wildcard in these little moments where Wildcard are going for more grandiose type things. They're being very conservative, and it's working out in spades.
Well, we are now one round away from not having a single flawless team inside of the NAL Wildcard, our last team standing without a single loss of any kind to their name. But if OXG are just able to clinch one more attack, whether it's on basement or a likely repeat of Gym later on, even if Wildcard win basement and likely CCTV after if they were to win this round, OXG have just looked so good when attacking that Gym bedroom bomb site. A 7-5 at best seems almost an inevitability unless Wildcard can start changing things fundamentally when they go back to Gym. But again, Church is now unlocked, and given how much they've lost Gym and the fashion they have, CCTV will likely follow if they do win Church here.
We'll just have to see.
10 seconds to insertion.
Definitely have to be a little worried for them, as Oxygen have been able to
5 seconds
constantly
remaining.
find themselves with the upper hand, especially on this offensive side.
Attackers' objective is to
Wildcard
defuse
have
the bomb.
had some flashes, some chances to make some big plays, but it seems like time and time again has been thwarted by OXG. This time around, and somewhat of a more aggressive front. I especially love the switch over here for Yogg to be on the Dokkaebi, have the secondary EMPs as well as that EBR that is so very potent right now. Some great soft destruction ability too. So first call going to go out, as well as his first drone dispatched. Oxygen have been able to at least assess what's going on this mid floor.
No early kill onto either of the entries for OXG, which is what started off the first Church attack that Oxygen had. Newers was shut down extremely quickly, and then Yaga followed later on in the round, but still with no fight from Oxygen to either bring that man advantage back, or no successful fight, that is. This time, there's really just not a lot of presence from Wildcard on that middle floor whatsoever. Oxygen have moved in within a minute, and now they can start opening these hatches, breaching these floors, and most importantly, getting Newers into positions like this where he really excels. He is one of those players that when you just send a guy down blue stairs, he can win that one, even in a disadvantaged position. There is still intel on this middle floor that Wildcard can play off of and use C4s, but if those don't land, Oxygen are getting in great positions to go for an execute later on in the round.
Yes, indeed. Good damage off onto Adam. Good info we saw earlier as well coming from those Valk cams, so they do know some of the positions, but Wildcard are going to be forced into a hole here soon. That's typically how this basement does go. It's going to get very constrictive, especially with a lot of the verticality working its way in. We'll be looking to fish to try and handle quite a bit of that. This region round's more than likely to be dedicated to the top of kitchen and open up a few angles for deeper inside of armory. Oxy gonna dump a few stuns as well, as Oxygen are trying to prep a few things before they get this execution to start going off. We're gonna be looking to Wildcard side here to try and make a grand stand, especially for Packer with this Nitro Cell, and Spirits, especially with these goggles. Going to be very important once this execute goes off for OXG.
Something needs to give for Oxygen. A lot standing in their way, but C4 is missing. That could be the first. Packer also put to low HP. Adam reduced to 1 HP early on, but he still gets the first kill. Starts things off onto Yaga, but the switch from Fish on, or the switch to put Fish on the Ash. That might just be advantageous. Wildcard maintained their lead. Nothing just yet for OXG to move down into this middle floor safely. All these angles working. Finally, Fosse gets something extremely large. But Wildcard, it's just not enough. They are holding on, getting these trades, getting these refrags. Deny the regulation win for just one more round.
Well, it may be sizable, but Wildcard got gargantuan there at the very tail end. Shut down the entries from Church. And especially able to handle the crux of the positioning there from Oxygen, which was that main stairs, right? Everybody trying to work their way down low, assist with the angles, especially with a lot of the soft walling that we saw on that, favored wall for Armory. But Wildcard able to win out these engagements, and that's what we've seen a lot of this coming to fruition for them, is when they're able to start shutting down a lot of the key entries from Oxygen. This round showing of that, but unfortunately enough, I don't know how easily it's going to be for them to try and mimic it, especially as we work our way back towards the top floor, especially as there's going to be more angles for Oxygen to try and absorb into their game plan. And as we know, Lynx, whenever you have a lot of those angles getting played in towards the defensive end, it seems like Oxygen is indomitable. They are always in the winning position. They are always looking to have that strike that can potentially be the jugular that wins you the
10
big round.
seconds left before insertion.
On CCTV 2, that's a not
5 seconds
an
left.
easy task to accomplish, but it's certainly easier than a site like Basement.
Attackers must
Once you
locate
open that
and
flat
defuse the
wall
bomb.
and really focus on Garage, and you're able to maybe get a pick on a roamer early on, or even in a 5v5, you're just able to kill that Garage player without dropping a body on the attack. At that point, converting is a lot easier because you have the flat wall opened up, you have Garage control, and can create a lot of crossfires to, even if you can't kill everyone, to put the bomb down behind the server rack at the very least. So if OXG, who have been so proficient, as you mentioned, and we specifically saw in Gym Bedroom, at taking angles, getting advantages, and then converting properly off of them. This is a site where that is arguably in some ways easier than Gym Bedroom.
Absolutely, especially with the way that CCTV plays, right? You can really box everyone out, and like you touched on, if you get Garage control, oh man, it is hell in a handbasket for the defense. It's like all the sirens are going off. You need smokes, you need nitro cells, everything stat. The patient is dying. Like, there's really no chance here if you guys don't fight back soon. So we'll see what Oxygen can do. They haven't gotten that far up the candy land here just yet, so we'll see if they can take a roll of the dice and maybe land some sixes. And see that we do have a potentiality of one wildcard member down low. It's going to be Spirits that's playing around with his fate. We'll jump off of the railing, but it's actually going to be Packer that gets lit up quite a bit. This is going to be a very important operator at the end of the day to try and keep alive for the tail end of this one.
Interestingly enough, no hard breach denial from Wildcard, no Bandit, no Cades. The flat wall opens up easy, but there's a lot of players inside of Construction and Master Bedroom, where there are quite a few OXG players as well. Adam might be taking a fight. Oh, does see Yago. Sledge just walking on in. Nobody droned inside a bedroom. The Drain, I guess, fights back, but that's definitely a big miss drone from Oxygen. They might get a kill, but Adam wasn't the player to worry about. It's the 14-6 Merc who still holds firm control of logistics, and Surf, the backbone as well, inside of Construction. Two different players on this roam remain alive, and OXG misdroned them early on, and that's going to cost them a lot of time. Oh, especially because of this. One drone left alive, and it's not in the hands of anybody actively remaining in this round. So that's just stationary. The only source of intel to gather is that Yana clone. And with Merc holding this position, it seems like might just be the secret sauce for this defense.
And just to make matters worse for that scenario, for them leading into that, at least they'll be able to get these kills. Okay, I'm gonna say we only had the ace over there to try and address this, and that meant that well, really they couldn't do too much. But now they're just gonna immediately go to the site. I mean, why deal with Merc when we could just go and plant the bomb instead? And that might be the round, actually. Merc, he thinks he has the roam, but little does he know it's actually in Oxygen's hands. You know, they say bird in hand equals two in the bush. For Oxygen, that's definitely going to be so. They completely work their way around Merc and kill what the heart of Wildcard in this one. Get the bomb down, big plays for them, and a beautiful clubhouse, I would say, for Oxygen.
Well, we'll throw it to a break real quick, and with after that, come back to the desk to break down Wildcard's first loss in the NAL.
Have you ever wondered how our professional players go pro? Or what happens between our regionals and majors? During the Tier 1 off-season, our Tier 2 scene kicks off with 5 separate regions hosting their own T2 competitions that have the opportunity for anyone and everyone to enter. Now let's get started and welcome you to the Tier 2 ecosystem of Rainbow Six Siege. There are several regional events around the world, which are the Japan Invitational, Liga Start for Latin America, the North Regional Rumble, and R6 Central Combine from Europe, and Element 1 for North America. Let's start with Element 1. In the first phase, you have 2 open qualifiers, so that's 2 different chances to register your team. you will need to quickly sign up since there are only 32 slots per qualifier, and it's first come, first served. This phase is over 3 days with the first 2 Swiss format. If you lose 4 games in this phase of Alpha, you're going home. And if you're in the top 12 teams on day 2, you go through to our closed qualifier. During the closed qualifiers, teams face single elimination matches, with the top 4 teams from each open qualifier moving on to the next stage. In Phase Beta, 8 qualifying teams will meet Element 1's 8 invited teams for a classic Swiss format knockout bracket. 3 strikes and you're out, but win 3, and congratulations, you just made the final phase. Phase Gamma is our playoff bracket, where the top 8 teams from the open qualifiers and invites will face each other in a single elimination bracket until we get to the grand final. At this stage, everyone gets a share of the $25,000 prize pool, where the winning team will take home up to $10,000. These events aren't just about the money though. Our Tier 2 events give you the platform to showcase your talent to the world. The matches are live streamed on our official channels with the best upcoming analysts and casters that BR6 has to offer. Win here, and your Rainbow Six life could change forever. Do you have what it takes to step up and be the next big name in Rainbow Six? Prove it.
I want M80 to be one of the most successful and dominant esports organizations in the world.
When the manager Golden reached out for a coaching position, I thought, why not? What could hurt?
You just got to take their soul. You just got to destroy them.
It's definitely better to let the player do the talking, but tend to stay clear of the people that have big egos.
Energy carries everything into winning.
This is Rainbow Six at its best!
Try not to hold on to revenge too much the past. If we were to play them again, it would just be like just that urge of competitiveness to beat them.
We know our potential, we know what we are capable of.
The opponents could definitely take the title from us.
The past is the past, but in the moment you have everything you need to do to be better.
The saying is basically that all good things have to come to an end at some point, and that undefeated streak for Wildcard is no more. OXG just choked the life out of the Gamblers finally at the last second. They go to Clubhouse, they gave it their all, but it looks like the undefeated streak is going to end at just 4 games for WC.
Well, just 4 games. I mean, they still had a pretty good run, but this was a tough opponent going up against them, and they did play well.
It is, and I thought this was actually the game of the day. This was a game for me, whereas OXG stopped Wildcard from getting any points for the day, that this could push Oxygen, you know, in a position of tying with them.
Yes, 100%.
They were really close, and I think for Wildcard, it's not to say that their position is completely guaranteed for playoffs, but for Oxygen to get this kind of dub is considerably better. When we get a second, we'll talk to Fish about exactly how they were able to get this dub over Wildcard specifically. But like before we get there, dude, how's it going? First time you've ever done an interview in the NAL, right?
I'm right here. Hello? Can you hear me?
How's it going, dude? First time you've done an interview for NA, right?
Reconnected it.
It might not be, Jacob.
Oh, boy. We might not have the interview after all.
Talk about a rookie.
We'll give it a sec. Oh, sweet.
Can you guys hear me?
Hello?
Oh, you there? How's it going, dude?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. How does it feel finally getting that dub? I think, did you have any pressure knocking Wildcard off at any point today, or was it just kind of business as usual for you guys before you played the game?
No, I don't think there was any real pressure as in terms of because they were in first place, but we came to play our game and we were prepared to play, so I think we won as expected.
Fish, what happened in that final round where you guys were attacking onto the top floor, Cash CCTV? Because you guys started on the Master side, the Solus and Master kind of ate up a lot of your drones, and then it seemed like something switched. You guys just decided to hit site. Was there a big call that was made there, or what? Walk me through that final round.
Yeah, so it had a lot to do with the missed drone, as you said. Merc wasted a lot of time on the Solus, and Mitch said we need to commit to one side one way or another right now, so I just called for everyone to rotate to the breach. And I knew I lit the smoke up early, so there was only one guy's rafter and one guy red. And we just flooded the site. We killed the guy rafters, and I killed the guy top red that swung me with 1 HP. So we basically won the round because, we made the right call to just leave that guy by himself because we had no more drones for him.
Great execute.
Really good heads-up play. Question for you, Fish. So you guys obviously saw them playing Border as much as they did. You guys also have a strong map pool on Border. Did you guys go into this banning Border specifically just so you could test them and really try them on a different map?
I mean, it was kind of unfair that they were getting, top 2 or first place, only playing 2 maps. Okay. So we just wanted to get that out there, don't play Border again. There's no reason to bring them there because there's other maps that we're really good at. So maybe they could only play Border in the other map. We don't know. So,
I mean, they couldn't play you guys on Club. That's for darn sure. Just out of curiosity, you played with this guy on Parabellum last stage, but now you've got a whole other cadre of both veterans and other people on support staff that you didn't have access to before when you played on Parabellum. What's it like being at the Boston Breach Fortress and then also just working with these dudes in general?
I think working with everyone here is pretty fun. Being at the breach facility, having a team house environment is really fun. We get to do things together every day. And it's definitely a different experience than just staying at home and playing online. And
I'm sorry I couldn't provide that for you, dog.
Oh,
I didn't bring you into the league because I believed.
Yeah, we should have hung out. You should have kept staying in Vegas and would have went and did stuff.
Well, I'm glad to see you doing good things over there.
Thank you.
All right, man. Anything else you want to say before we let you go?
Skins, anything?
Anything?
Oh, yeah. Buy our new skin. Our new skin is out. Buy the OXG signature skin. So how much is the skin? 1,200 credits. All right. Well, whatever it is,
what's that in USD?
It's cheap.
That's still over 15 bucks. It's not
cheap.
that bad.
Yeah, you guys got it.
All right, dude. Hopefully we'll talk to you again. Good luck, man.
All right, bye-bye.
Always good to talk to guys who've never had the opportunity to voice their opinions or finally show up on the big screen, so it's always good to talk to guys like Fish.
Yeah, especially after I thought he had a pretty solid game as well, especially once they got to attack. He was really able to get in, work with his team, trade quite well. I thought everybody on OXG played well, nobody really standing out too high above the rest, but Fish for sure having a great one here for Oxygen.
Talking about Fish, I'm just glad to see Fish flourishing and being the player that I know that he can be, and I've talked about it before with rookies. Sometimes you just got to be in different environments to really really push you to the next place, the next step for you. And I'm just glad to see him doing his thing.
Yeah, we got the highlights going on now, and there were 2 real bomb sites the Wildcard could not crack on their attacks. The first one was the basement bomb site. With this buck ban, it really felt like Wildcard were trying to get some attacks in that didn't rely so much on soft breach to attack that bottom floor. It ended up being a lot of weird rushes. We saw a blitz play, and it was always getting shut down, whether it was goo mines or C4s. Auction were a brick wall down in the basement, really stopped Wildcard from coming through. And the other place where they struggled was the gym bedroom bomb site. Even when they were able to take down Fox instead of Cash, Newer's in sight, inside of logistics, back in the gym bedroom bomb site, was really effective at shutting down the players on Wildcard when they wanted to make those pushes in. So loved that defensive half from Oxygen. And then that second half was just trade city from both teams, but Oxygen a little bit better there.
We should talk about the winners and give them their flowers, obviously, but let's just transition quickly. Wildcard finally lost a game. Already had 12 points. This is the first time they've had to face loss really at all. Are we concerned about it yet, or is this just the first time? Shake it off, play another map, next time it'll be okay.
You need to lose at some point, and it's better to lose when you're in a good position. It allows you to just bounce back, figure out what you need to, and then go into the next game.
So not a problem at this point.
They're still sitting pretty.
Shake it off, go again. I mean, you do still have to kind of play some double headers here or there. So
if you think you're going to go away without losing at some point in your career, let me tell you, you're going to lose.
I was going to say, as somebody who's been on how many win streaks in your career, and then eventually you had to come tumbling down?
I've been up, and I've been down.
Yeah.
And then I went back up, and then I went down.
Well.
And then I retired. So that's
like the lowest of the low you could possibly get to.
Yeah, definitely. I think once you're at the bottom and then it forces you into retirement, yeah, I think that's definitely the bottom. But now I'm up again.
Hey,
so,
it's true.
We're an ongoing trend.
Yeah, he's here. Well, for Wildcard, 1 loss in the books, not the biggest deal in the world. For Oxygen, their path forward to the major is now looking a lot more likely. And if anyone else were to get to the major and we want to do another Siege to Win documentary, these guys might be in it. Here's what the other one looked like, though.
Winning money is not a big thing at all. I'm just here to play, win trophies. That's what I care about.
I was playing to not lose and playing to not make mistakes, and now I play to play. I play to win.
I would say I'm living the dream in my current role. I would say I'm one of the best in the world.